Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the world of talking sports in English. We've got a ton of sources here, and we're going to help you navigate conversations, understand the lingo, and even pick up on some of the cultural stuff you might encounter.
You know, it's funny because sports are more than just games. They're really a reflection of society, our values, and even history, and language is your ticket to understanding all that.
Okay, so our sources start with some basics, like the essentials: team, score, win, or lose.
Right. It's like building a house, gotta have those basics.
Yeah, got to get that foundation down.
What's really interesting is how these terms are like universally understood. You could be in London talking about football, you could be in Rio talking about a volleyball match. Those core words, they're the same.
That's so cool. Like, no matter where you are, team means team. Everyone knows what a championship is.
Yeah, it's a common language for fans all around the world.
I love that. It's a great starting point for any conversation. The source also mentions, referee and umpire. Those folks that make the calls sometimes cause a bit of a stir.
Yeah, the arbiters of the game. Their role is so crucial and often controversial.
Right.
I mean, think about it. They can influence the outcome of a match with a single decision.
Oh, totally.
It's no wonder fans get so passionate.
And like the judges in a reality show, everyone's got an opinion on how they did.
Mm-hmm.
But without them, it would be chaos on the fields, right?
Oh, for sure. They're guardians of the rules.
Totally.
They make sure everything is fair and keep order amidst all the excitement.
All right, so you've got those basic terms down. It's time to, level up. And we're talking phrases, the kind that help you hold your own in any sports chat.
Right. Think of it as having, a toolbox full of different conversational wrenches.
I like that.
You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw. You wouldn't use the same phrase to ask about someone's favorite team as you would to, analyze a controversial play.
Love that analogy. Our source breaks it down into categories.
Yeah.
Asking about sports, talking about a team's performance, expressing your opinions, even making predictions. All the good stuff.
Yeah. It's like having the right tool for any sports-related situation.
All right, let's see what we got in the toolbox here. So the source gives some great examples like, do you follow any sports? Simple, effective, gets that conversation going.
Yeah, classic opener.
Or for when you're really excited,
Yeah.
you could say, wow, what a game. They played incredibly well.
Yes, that captures the enthusiasm and provides some commentary on the game itself. I love how our source gives these specific examples.
Me too. Makes it so much easier to imagine yourself using them.
Absolutely.
It's like they've given us a cheat sheet.
Exactly.
I think they have a good chance of winning the championship this year. Boom. Instant conversation. Especially if someone disagrees with your prediction.
That's the point. These phrases aren't just about making statements. They're about, sparking discussions, getting people talking.
Oh, I love this one. That was an amazing goal. Simple, direct.
Yeah.
Conveys that awe we all feel when we see something incredible. Okay, but before we get too carried away with these amazing moments,
Yeah.
we gotta look at what happens when things don't go as planned.
Right. Losses, injuries, controversies. That's all part of the sports world, too.
Yeah. That's the other side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing how to talk about those things can, add another layer to your conversation.
For sure. It adds depth. So how do we, gracefully talk about these tougher moments?
Yeah, how do we navigate the not so celebratory times?
Well, our sources actually give some phrases for this. You could say something like, it's a tough loss, but I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah, I like that. It acknowledges the setback, but it's still optimistic.
Exactly.
It's a good way to, show you, understand even if you're secretly happy because your rival team just went down. I'm kidding. But seriously, sports can bring up strong emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing how to express those is key.
Absolutely. And sometimes those emotions, they can lead to, some pretty colorful language. Our sources talk about this idea of trash talk, that verbal sparring between players, sometimes even fans.
Ooh, trash talk. That's a whole other level of sports communication.
Yeah, it can be funny.
It can be brutal.
Definitely adds a little spice to the game. But it's important to remember that trash talk, it's very context dependent.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What might be fine in one culture could be offensive in another.
Good point. It's all about reading the room and understanding the boundaries.
Right. And while some lighthearted ribbing can be fun, you never want to cross that line into personal insults.
Absolutely. So speaking of understanding, I want to dive into some of those tips our source gives for talking about sports effectively. One that really sticks out: be enthusiastic.
Yes, enthusiasm. It's contagious.
It is.
When you genuinely enjoy talking about sports, it shows.
It really does.
And it draws people in. It's like, being a good storyteller. You captivate your audience with your passion. Think about those commentators who get so fired up.
Oh, yeah.
Their energy is infectious. But it's not always about, being super loud and excited.
No, it's not.
The source also mentions the power of questions.
Right. Questions.
Even if you're not a huge fan yourself.
That's a great way to show you're engaged.
Exactly. Who's your favorite player? What do you think of the new coach? Just simple things like that.
Right. You can start a conversation. You might learn something new.
Exactly.
I once asked a colleague about cricket. I knew absolutely nothing about cricket.
Oh, wow.
We ended up having this fascinating conversation about it, its history, and its cultural significance.
That's awesome. See, curiosity leads to unexpected connections.
It does. But you can't just ask questions. You got to stay up to date.
Oh, yes. Keeping up with the latest news.
Yes. Don't want to be that person who doesn't know what happened last night.
Right. You want to be able to participate in those conversations. Show that you're really plugged into what's happening in the world of sports.
It shows you're invested.
Yeah, it does. Speaking of invested, there's another tip I want to highlight. Be respectful.
Respect. So important.
It is.
In any conversation.
It's easy to get caught up, let our emotions get the better of us.
Yeah, especially with sports.
But it's just a game.
Right.
Be a good sport, win or lose.
Absolutely. I remember seeing this heated argument between fans of rival teams, and it got so uncomfortable.
Oh.
It was beyond friendly. It was just disrespectful. We can be passionate without getting personal or negative.
Yeah. Negativity just brings everyone down. And you know what? That brings us to another pitfall that our source mentioned. Too much jargon.
Ah, yes, jargon.
Yeah, that language that only insiders understand.
Right. Like trying to crack a secret code.
It is. It is. While we might want to impress people with our sports knowledge, bombarding them with those really technical terms, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. Strike a balance.
Right. You want to sound knowledgeable, but also be accessible.
Like instead of saying their quarterback's completion percentage was abysmal,
Right.
you could say they just didn't complete many passes.
Exactly. Much clearer.
Right to the point.
And on that note, our source made this really good point. Not everyone loves sports.
Oh, that is so true. Not everyone is glued to ESPN or, lives for those game-winning moments.
Right. And that's totally fine.
Totally fine. But assuming that everyone shares our passion, that can lead to some awkward moments.
I remember going to a party and this person just launched into this deep analysis of a rugby match.
Oh, no.
And nobody else knew what he was talking about.
Oh, that's so awkward.
It was like watching a one-man show that no one bought tickets for. So to avoid that, our source suggests just gauging interest.
Okay, I like that.
Are you into sport? Simple.
Keeps you from talking about batting averages to someone who's not interested. So it's important to make sure your audience is ready to play ball before you go full sports commentator on them.
Great analogy. It's all about reading the cues and, adjusting how you talk accordingly. Remember, the goal isn't to dominate the conversation. It's about connecting, sharing that enjoyment.
It is.
And that's where those tips come in. The enthusiasm, questions, respect, avoiding jargon, all that creates a good experience.
Right. Speaking of good experiences, let's, put this into practice.
Yeah.
Imagine we're at a party and you see someone wearing a jersey of your favorite team. How do you start a conversation with them using what we talked about?
Okay, let's see. I would probably go up to them and say, hey, I love your jersey. Are you a big team name fan?
Yeah.
It's casual, enthusiastic.
I like it.
Invites them to share their passion. And then from there, use those open-ended questions to keep the conversation going. What's been your favorite moment of the season?
Yeah, who do you think will be the MVP?
Right, exactly. You're building a little conversational bridge, brick by brick. And even if they're not super into the sport, they might be happy to chat about a favorite player or a memorable game.
Yeah, totally. The key is to be approachable and genuine and respectful. And you never know what kind of connections you might make.
Right. And don't forget the cultural side of things. Our sources talk about how sports can give you insights into different cultures. Think about the World Cup.
Oh, the World Cup.
It's like the Olympics of soccer. It brings together people from all over the world.
Celebration of sport, national pride, all of it.
Exactly. And being able to talk about it in English, it lets you join that global conversation, understand the perspectives and passions of people from all these different backgrounds.
I like that. It's like you get a front row seat to a global cultural event.
It is.
But not everyone's a soccer fan. What about, baseball?
Well, every sport has its own cultural nuances. For example, in baseball, there's this whole unwritten code of conduct.
Right.
You never step on the pitcher's mound. You don't celebrate too wildly after a home run.
Subtle but important.
Exactly. These things reflect the history and values of the game.
Each sport's got its own set of unspoken rules.
It does. And understanding that can really enhance your enjoyment of the game, help you connect with other fans on a deeper level.
Totally. It's not just knowing the rules of the game, it's understanding the context in which those rules were made.
Right. Language lets us dive into these intricacies. We can explore the history, the traditions, the values embedded within each sport.
Okay, so it's more than just knowing how to keep score.
It is.
It's about appreciating the culture of the game.
Exactly. It's like learning a new language unlocks a whole new level of understanding.
I love that. That's a real deep dive.
It is.
But before we, go too deep into, sumo wrestling, let's bring it back to the individual. Our sources talked about how mastering sports vocabulary and phrases can boost your confidence.
That's huge.
Yeah.
When you can confidently talk about something as universal as sports, it opens so many doors. New friendships, new connections.
I mean, imagine you're at a networking event. The person next to you turns out to be a fan of your favorite team.
Boom, instant connection.
Right, you have that common ground, that shared passion. Who knows where that could lead?
Yeah, it's like having a secret handshake.
It is. And the more you practice these phrases and tips, the more natural it becomes.
Right, practice makes perfect. But let's be real, learning a new language, it can feel overwhelming, even just within the world of sports.
Oh, yeah, it's a journey.
It is. But gotta stay motivated. Remember why you're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the reasons that you keep going?
For me, it's the joy of connecting with people, sharing experiences, understanding the world a little bit better. What about you?
I think that's what makes this deep dive so cool.
Yeah.
It's not just about learning words.
No.
It's about unlocking the power of language, connecting with people, experiencing new cultures, really appreciating the world around us.
I love that. It makes me think about the role of sports in promoting understanding and breaking down barriers.
Oh, absolutely. Sports have this amazing ability to bring people together no matter where they come from.
Think about the Olympics.
The Olympics, yeah.
Athletes from all over the world coming together, competing, representing their countries. And even though they speak different languages, they share this passion, this respect for each other's skills.
It's such a beautiful testament to the power of sports. And being able to talk about these events, these experiences, it lets us be part of that.
It does.
We connect with people from all over and celebrate how different we all are.
That's so true. It's a reminder that sports, they're more than just games. They're a reflection of our shared humanity, our ability to be great, our desire to connect.
And being able to communicate about those experiences, to share those stories, it's a gift.
It really is. And as we've been talking, it's hit me that sports can also teach us valuable life lessons. Teamwork, perseverance, discipline, grace under pressure.
Oh, for sure.
These are qualities that go beyond the game. They apply to everything.
It's like sports are a mini version of life itself.
They are. You have the highs, the lows, the moments of glory, and the moments of humility.
And being able to talk about these lessons, to really reflect on them, it just adds another layer to everything.
It does. It's like we're not just talking about sports. We're talking about life, about what it means to be human.
I love that. And it reminds me that language learning is not just about the words, it's about expanding our horizons, understanding ourselves better, and connecting with others on a deeper level.
You said that perfectly. It's a reminder that the journey of language learning, it's worth it.
Every step of the way.
Yeah.
But before we finish up, got to talk about one more thing. Our sources mentioned some potential pitfalls of talking about sports, like the danger of making assumptions and alienating people who might not be as into it as we are.
Right, right. It's easy to forget that not everyone is as invested as we are.
It's like that friend who won't stop talking about their fantasy football team, even when everyone else at the table is trying to have a normal conversation.
Oh yeah, we all know that person. And while passion is great, we got to be aware of our audience.
Yeah, I got to gauge their interest level before we launch into a play-by-play.
Exactly. So before you start reciting stats or debating a call, check in. Are you into sport? Simple question can save you from a one-sided conversation.
So important.
It is. It shows respect.
Yeah.
We recognize that not everyone shares our interests. And that makes me think about, how important it is to find that common ground, even when our passions might not perfectly align.
Absolutely. We don't need to be sports fanatics to connect with each other. There's so much out there to talk about.
There is so many ways to build relationships and have great conversations.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the most important thing to remember is to be genuine and respectful. Be open to learning from others, no matter what you're talking about.
I agree. Everyone has something unique to offer.
Everyone has something to teach us.
Exactly.
And who knows, maybe by having these conversations, stepping outside our comfort zones, we might even discover a love for a sport we never thought we'd like.
You never know.
Life is full of surprises, right?
Hey.
Learning never really ends.
It doesn't. It does. So we've covered a lot of ground, but
We have.
I want to leave with one final thought. We talked about all those words and phrases and tips, and we even touched on how sports reflect different cultures.
Right.
But think about it this way. Beyond all the practical stuff, how could talking about sports in English actually help you understand those cultures better?
That's a really good question.
It's something to think about as you keep learning.
Yeah, like sports become this window into different people's lives, their values, even just different ways of experiencing the world.
Exactly. It's about more than just the game itself. It's about connecting with people and sharing those experiences.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today.
It does.
It's been so fun. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And remember, keep exploring, keep talking. We'll see you next time.
See you then.